I think I have not click on the record. All right, so I created the database, and inside database I want to create the table. So in this table you right click it and then say new table. I said Excel file is like database, each Excel sheet is like table. So we are creating table number 1. Suppose I want to have the table number 1 as say student detail. So in student detail, whatever the columns you want, you define them as field. Column name heading you can see here. So I want column name as roll number, which will have integer as data type. If necessary, I can allow null value. Similarly, name as the second field. Field or column both are same, guys. And data type as varchar say 100, meaning is character data with 100 characters, and say marks decimal with 18,2. That means total 18 digit, out of that 2 digits should be for decimal places. Then result, suppose I want to have result as varchar something like 10, pass or fail, something like that. Then I want to have something called created date. That means on which date time you created it, you created the record. So I will say it as date time, just like C sharp. C sharp also having a data type called date time. Here also we have date time data type, which can store any information about date and time. That's it. Let's have these 5 fields. Okay, this is called table structure design. So first we are taking care about the backend. How many fields? Yeah, it's okay. You can go for don't allow null. You can go for allow null also. So if you will uncheck that, it will not allow null value. So that checkbox is for should I allow null or should not I allow null. Null means nothing. Suppose you have not yet recorded result, then obviously it should be null. So I said all of them allow null if necessary. But if you are defining some primary key or some specific field you want not null, then you can say not null. Suppose I want name is mandatory to enter, then simply uncheck it. Okay, that means name may become now mandatory. You cannot leave name blank. Similarly, roll number should not be blank. You can say not allow null, uncheck it. Result not yet recorded, it's fine. It can have null. Marks not yet entered, it can have null. So based on the field you can decide this allow null or allow not null. Then there is something called primary key. Primary key means uniquely identifying the record from a field. So if I will ask you which field is unique in this list, I will say roll number is unique. Why? Because two people can have same name, two people can have same marks, two people can have same result, two people can have same created date also, but two people will not have roll number same. I assume like that in this particular structure. So I will right click this roll number and click on the set primary key. So primary key is the unique identifier for entire table. So as per relational database management system RDBMS rule, every table should have one primary key which will uniquely represent entire dataset. Okay, entire dataset. Dataset means set of the data. So I have 100 students detail. If I will have a roll number column, easily I can represent each student as a unique identifier called roll number. So I defined primary key roll number. So kind of short note I'm writing here so that it will be easier to practice you. So first I created database, then I created table. Right click database, new database, right click table, new table. Going forward, I will tell you what is the command. This is called wizard. Currently we are creating table, creating database, everything we are creating through wizard, because Microsoft gives user friendly environment to create everything as well as modify everything. So without learning command also you can do this. But going forward, when we will go for more coding part, that time I will tell you how to create a database, how to create a table with the help of coding as well. Alright, so I created database, I created table. Inside this table we defined some columns with allow null facility, with primary key facility. Now I am going to apply something called identity facility. So identity means auto increment, guys. Suppose somebody says roll number 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. I don't want to send from the C# side. I want to decide in the backend itself. Automatically it should increment like serial number. Make sense? So you have to go to, first of all you select the roll number and go to identity specification, and here in identity you say yes. You have to say yes for identity. That is called identity specification. Then we have one more thing to apply. Chalo, I will take it below. In table we defined this. We have something called default value. What do you mean? Identity says you don't need to enter value. I will take automatically 1 2 3 4 5 6. Default value says it's not like serial number. It's one default calculated value I will take. So in this particular table you can see there is a created date, right? I want created date will not be entered from the front end or from the C#. I want to automatically enter the created date in the backend. Then what you have to do, you select the created date, come here below. Can you see there is something called default value or binding? There you write get date. It's a inbuilt function, guys, get date, which will give you current date and time. Like in C#, if you remember, there is a function called datetime.now. Datetime is the class name and now is the function name. That gives current date and time in the front end or C#. Similarly, in database side, there is a function called getDate. GETDAT, open bracket, close bracket, semicolon. So semicolon is optional. So I just typed getDate in the default column, default value property. Then it will be decided that created date will not be entered from the front end. It will automatically decided in the back end. Again repeating, roll number, I defined it as identity column because I wanted roll number should be 1 2 3 4 5 6 etc. And created date, I wanted current date and time should be taken automatically from the back end. So I defined default value. Now let's save this table. We don't have any data, but we have defined the structure of the table, and this table name I will say it as students. Always give a plural name as the student, data, table. Okay, so table name should be always a plural name, guys. It's a best practice. It's not necessarily that if you will give XYZ it will show any error. Should be a valid name and should be plural. That is just a best practice. Why plural? Because this table is not containing one student data, right? It will student multiple student data. So any doubt as of now, creating database, creating table and applying columns, data type, null, not null, primary key, default value and identity. Yep. Mhm. Yeah, yeah. Whenever you submit, suppose today you submit at 10:30, so you don't need to type 10:30 on the screen and save it. You say that, okay, I submitted the data. It should automatically take from the current date and time, because your SQL server is installed in a computer, and that computer is already recording date and time. Why not will take current date and time from the computer itself? Why you will pass manually from the screen? That is what our plan. But if you want, okay, I will have a text box where I will type current date and time and save it. It's okay, but human error may come. That's why not a good idea to send created date from the front end manually. So I decided default date, I mean default value for the date and time. Make sense? Similarly, roll number, why should I decide what will be the next student's roll number? Why not system decide, okay, last student was 1002, so this time submitted data should be 1003, next time 1004, and so on. So I decided identity, I decided primary key, I decided default value for specific fields, not all the fields. Alright, so and I saved the data, table as named as students. Now if we'll expand this table, you can see dbo.students. Have a look, left side, dbo.students. This dbo is called short form of database object. Actually table is what? Actually it's a component of database, you can say. Database is like Excel file, table is like Excel sheet. So dbo indicates this database object. This students is a database object, so that is called schema, guys. schema, schema. Okay, so each table or function or stored procedure, any component inside the database, if you create, by default it will be kept under inside a schema. Schema is nothing but like a logical workspace, and that will contain the component, just like you can compare it with namespace in your C#. So namespace is a logical work area that contains many classes, right? Similar to that, schema is a logical work area in the database that is containing lot of component of the database. It may be a table, it may be a view, it may be stored procedure, it may be function, it may be anything. So this time we created a table named as students. By default it will kept inside a schema called dbo. So that is a regular interview question. What is the name of the default schema in database? If somebody wants, I don't want to store in default schema, I want to create my own schema, you can either rename it also, or you can create it separately also. You can say create schema name, and then use whatever the schema name, then you create the table. So going forward, when we will learn coding, that time you can know how to create a database, how to create a table, how to create schema with the help of coding. Create database. I mean, easy actually, very easy creating the things. Create database name. Create table name. Create schema name. Like that. It is very simple, but I don't want to merge both at a time. So let's go for the wizard first, and later on when we will work with database programming, that time I will tell you how to write the command for all these activity. So we created a table but not yet entered any data. That means perhaps we created the Excel file. Inside the Excel file we created an Excel sheet, but that Excel sheet doesn't contain any data. You can compare with that. Okay. Actually Excel is DBMS, but MS SQL Server is RDBMS. This is called Relational Database Management System. Excel is Database Management System. Just like 2 minutes back I created primary key. For what purpose? For relational purpose. I can relate more than one table with the help of primary key as a unique identifier. But that kind of things not possible in Excel, right? Excel doesn't restrict you that you should have a primary key. There is no concept of primary key in Excel, right? No foreign key, no primary key, no relationship between one file to another file. That's why that is called DBMS, Database Management System. But additionally, in MS SQL Server, in Oracle, in MS Access, in IBM DB2, various advanced databases are there where this primary key, foreign key, etc., with relational concept called joins is available. We will see joins and all in SQL Server as well, no problem, in coding area. So this time, let's focus about the wizard and creating database, creating table, and so on. So this time I want to enter some student detail into this table. So what should I do? If I'm using wizard, then I have to right click here. There is something called edit. It will show you just like one Excel file, and you can go on typing the data. Roll number, it will not allow me to type because it's identity column. If I'll start typing forcefully also, it will not take. Can you see? I'm typing 1 or 2 or 3, but it's not taking. But name, it will take. Suppose name is something, marks is something, result is something. Just example data I'm typing. Default value, if you are not entering anything, it will take the default content automatically. We will see later how it is taking the default data. But if you are entering manually, then that will be taken. So in default column or default valued column, we have the provision of entering as well. If you don't enter, it will take default system date, but if you enter, it will take that date. So let's enter some 2-3 records, and one thing I will make it fail. Later on it will be easier for differentiating. I will say failed. Alright, so I didn't enter roll number, I didn't enter created date, but automatically both of them will come. Let's close it. I want to see the data. So as of now, what we did, create database, create table, define all the constraints like not null, null, primary key, identity, default value, whatever it is. As of now, we learned that is called constraint. Create table, create fields, define constraints, save the table, enter the data into table directly in the backend, and now fetch and display the table data. So right click here and say select. So select is for fetching and displaying, edit is for entering or editing the data. Have a look. Roll number and name we didn't enter, but it took automatically because we have defined respective constraint for both of them. constraint, constraint. Okay. So some special feature about a field is called constraint in technical terminology. So we have more things to do in SQL Server, but initially what we want is we want this much, then we'll go to C# side. That means in backend side we created a database, we created a table, we entered some example data into it, and now I'm coming back to C# side. So let's open one. Okay, let me tell you, real-time environment. In our course, we have something called ASP.NET Web Form, and we have something called ASP.NET MVC. All right. So first we'll try with web form. Real-time environment means GUI, graphical user interface environment. As of now, from the day one of the course, you are seeing the output in a black and white screen, isn't it? That is called console screen or console application. But this time, since we are going towards the real-time implementation of our knowledge, So either we'll take web form or we'll take MVC, or may both. In our course we have both, but web form, I will tell you, it is almost going from market. That's why much more time we will not give on web form. One basic idea we will take how to develop project in web form, but more time we will be spending in MVC. After 2 years it might have totally gone from market. It will not be available in Visual Studio also. Now at least it is available. After 2 years you will see this will not be available at all. Okay, so but okay, uh, we will see both of them since we have in course, and some company they want this also nowadays, because all migration projects, they may need both the knowledge from the candidate. Migration project means already developed in web form, they are planning in MVC to migrate it. Then the candidate should have knowledge of both. That's why, not to restrict you in the number of opportunities, some 30 to 40% knowledge will have in web form, which is again not required after 2 years or so. But MVC will go for full-fledged knowledge. So today I will take you to web form and I will fetch this data, whatever you entered in the database, and I will try to display in a tabular manner. See how I'm doing it. So go to Visual Studio. Create a project. So today onwards, guys, we went towards the real-time software development stuff. So if by chance somebody might have neglected in past days, still it is manageable. You can overlook it later. But today onwards, whatever topic, if one day you delayed to practice, you are gone. Only one day you delayed not to practice and you are gone. Completely gone. You will not catch it again. So you have to be little more serious about the practicing on the same day. So what I will do, I will select now C Sharp, Windows operating system, web of course, and to go for web form, you have to go for .NET framework, and you have to click on next, and here you give name of the project. Suppose I will name this project as something like my first ADO demo, kind of that I will give. Okay, my first ADO demo or ADO app. Okay, so go to location and save it in your folder. Select here web form instead of MVC and go to create. Just as a knowledge I'm giving you, but not to be much serious about web form, guys, because you know, up to maximum 1 to 2 years only it will be demanded in market, little more, but after that it will completely go from market. It's already gone 80%. If you don't have web form knowledge, people may take you, but if you don't have MVC knowledge, people will not take you. That's why this is not that important, but for the sake of basic knowledge of ADO.NET, I'm just using it. At the same time, you will have one technology extra knowledge also. No need to say, sir, I cannot work in web form, I can only work in MVC. So you will have both the knowledges. Your scope will be increased. So come here. No need to bother about the template project what it created. It will create one small hello world project with some 2-3 pages. But we have to focus about our own development, our own page. Suppose I want to develop a page named as home page. Then right click the project, go to add. You can see here there is something called web form. Okay, there is something called web form. So I will name it as home. Okay, I will name it as home. Then I'll say okay. That means uh, my page name is home.aspx. Can you see? .aspx is the extension of web form. So just to implement the ADO.NET knowledge, database connectivity knowledge, we are just taking this web form approach. Extension is here .aspx. Alright, let me save this notepad. ADO.NET, something like that. I will name it as. Okay, so in this, first thing you have to know is web.config. This is also applicable in other architectures like 3-tier, N-tier architecture, MVC architecture. So little have some idea about the configurational layer. This configurational layer will have lot of configurational related stuff. What do you mean? Imagine I have 10 pages in my website. Imagine I have 10 pages or 100 pages in my website. Now out of 100 pages, imagine around 50 to 60 pages are communicating with database. Okay, because today's topic is communicating with database. So imagine our application is communicating with database. So if it is so, some 50 to 60 pages are communicating, then it is obvious that we will be using database name, table name, user ID, password of the database across all 50 to 60 pages. Don't you think so? Now, if by chance tomorrow name of the database has changed, then don't you think 100 pages or 50 pages you are visiting and you are changing the name of the database, name of the table, name of the user ID, password, etc. So configurational layer is going to help you something to configure in the web.config and keep it in one place and use that particular configurational item across all 50 to 60 pages. So what I will do here, I will come inside system.web. Okay, there is something called system.web. Inside this you can keep something called connection string, or one more way, there are two ways guys, I will tell you both. One more way, just press enter after configuration, make some space, you create your own app setting tag. There is something called app settings. Why the name is app settings? Because this is a setting area for application, setup area for application, you can say. Okay, so I want to set up database name, table name, user ID, password, etc. in one place, and I have to use it across the entire application, right? That's why it is called setting. So any mobile apps you go, if you are chatting with 10 different friends, you are going to setting and putting one background or one wallpaper for all 10 different places at a time. You make a setting, right? It is something like that. So web.config will have settings for entire application, if any. So what I do here, I will say I want to define connection string. So in ADO.NET, using ADO.NET to connect between ASP.NET web form to MS SQL server. Same thing we will do in MVC also guys. Why directly I am not going to MVC? Because you will increase your scope of opportunities in market. MVC annual you are not going to live. Otherwise people will not at all take you. But if you know little idea of web form, then you can say that not only in new projects I can work, but also in old migration project I can work. Okay, so that's why Usually I take the preference for both of these to my students, but yes, no need to take much seriously to web form, like spending 1 month for web form, etc. Not required. Just one basic workflow you understand, that how to develop the project, how to communicate with the database, how to display data, how to save the data, how to update the data, basic workflow required in a project development lifecycle that you have in web form, and maximum advanced features you focus in the MVC. Okay. So I will tell you, in .NET Core they have completely removed web form also. In .NET Core they have removed web form also. So uh, in .NET Framework it is still available, because as I said, still market demands for both knowledges, because if they want to migrate old projects into new, they prefer people having at least 30 to 40% or 50% knowledge of web form. So I gave the heading using ADO.NET to connect between ASP.NET Web Form and MS SQL Server. So first thing, we backend side already we did this much. Backend means SQL Server database. SQL Server database. After doing this much, then we came to ASP.NET Web Form. ASP.NET MVC we will go later, not now. Okay. So inside ASP.NET Web Form, we created a project with extension .aspx, because it's web form. This is the outline what we are doing, so that for practicing at home this outline will help you, but practically what I'm doing you must remember also. Since we will repeat these things many times, maybe first time you will not remember 100%. When we will repeat similar approach for saving the data, fetching the data and displaying, updating the data, deleting the data. So same work will be repeated again and again, then you will feel it easy. But since this is only day one today for real time development, so you may face it difficult, no need to worry. Okay. So we created a project. We created a, a page named as home.aspx. So we right click there and we say add new page and web form. Under web form it will ask you what is the name of the page, then you give the home HOME and then it will save it as home.aspx. You could have given it as contact us also or about us also, whatever it is. I gave home.aspx. Make sense? Going very slow, systematically, anywhere stuck, missed the step, raise the hand and stop me, and then comfortably go to next level. So in this, after creating the page, we went to web.config and provide some app setting. You may forget that terminology, that's why I typed it here. You have to go for app settings. This is called app setting tag, to keep information about database used. I might be having tomorrow 10 different pages. All 10 different pages might be using same database. Then why I will keep the information about database in the page level? Tell me. If I will have 10 different pages, in page level if I will keep the database information, then obviously if the name of the database changed tomorrow, then 10 pages I am going and changing it. Don't you think so? That's why I thought, why not we will keep it in the configuration layer as a setting item, so that that database name, that database user ID password can be used across the website or across the application in 100 or 200 different pages as well if necessary. So keep information about database used in ADO.NET. That means in database connectivity methodology. Whenever I use ADO.NET, just replace that with database connectivity methodology. Okay, so used in ADO.NET, named as connection string. This terminology we set as connection string, keeping the information about database and its user ID and password, if any, is named as connection string. So if somebody asks you for any project development, where do you keep the connection string? That means quickly you have to understand he is asking about where do you keep database name, user ID, password, etc. in one website or in one web application development. Then you have to say in configurational layer we keep it. No need to say web.config, because technology to technology, architecture to architecture, name of the page will vary. Here we say it as web.config. In .NET core, we say it as app settings.json. One JSON file will be there, JavaScript object notation, etc. So it depends, but you have to say configurational file. So in configurational file, define one setting and keep connection string in it. That is the best practice in any real-time application development. So let's define this connection string. How to define it? Come here, add one item. You have to use add tag, add. It will take two things from you. One is key, one is value. So I said key equal to any variable name, x, y, z, anything, but I will take a meaningful name. So I will say con string. Okay, not a good idea to give x, y, z, a, b, c, etc. Though it is allowed, I named it as con string, not a keyword, just a meaningful name. That's it. Then I will say value. That means if you are writing here x and here you are writing 100, this x equal to 100 can be used across the application in any page. You take it that way. Okay, so that's what configurational layer says. So but this time I want to take the variable name as con string and value I want to keep as database name, server name, user ID, password, and so on. So I have to write like this: server equal to whatever the server name. When you open database, you have typed something called server name, right? If you think you may type mistakenly, so you just copy it and paste it there. That I suggest to my student. No need to be overconfident. Simply copy and paste it. No need to type it there. So come here and Control V. Okay. Who knows? Your server name might be very complicated name. You may make mistake during typing it here. So why not we will go there and copy and paste it. Again, I will show you. Those who didn't make, open your database. If you have already opened it, go to connect and database engine. If you might not have opened SQL Server, you go to Windows and type SSMS, SQL Server Management Studio. Click there. Very first thing it will ask is server name. So whatever you type there, that you copy and put it over there. Okay. As of now, anybody missing the step or something? I'm already writing here the steps also. Okay, so put a semicolon. Connection string is a constant value that have the information about name of the server, name of the database, and user ID and password. So server equal to, already I wrote it. Now database equal to, what is the name of the database? Database name is October 2020. Just copy it. Why we will type it? We may do the spelling mistake. Why not? Copy it. Copy and paste it. 4 things I said: server name, database name, user ID password. Acha, tell me, did we use any user ID and password to connect this database? No, right? We went for Windows authentication. Only if you are going for SQL Server authentication, during installation itself, we might have decided that my database will need user ID password or it will not need any user ID and password. Okay, there will be some options asked during installation. Do you want only Windows authentication, or do you want SQL Server authentication, or do you want mixed mode authentication? If you by chance named it as mixed mode authentication during installation, it will come both of these. Can you see Windows as well as SQL Server coming for me? That means it is sure that when I installed, I might have chosen mixed mode authentication. Whenever I need user ID password, that also possible. Whenever I don't need user ID and password, that also possible. But this database particularly, October 2020, I created without any user ID and password. Don't you think so? That means in connection string also, we don't need to give any user ID and password. Out of 4 things, 2 things already we mentioned, and user ID password we have not yet restricted in the database side, right? Because this ASP.NET application is going to communicate with SQL Server, as simple as that. Now, if ASP.NET application will not have those credentials, whatever it is, whether server name, whether database name, whether user ID and password, if any, if it will not have, then how it will knock the door to the database? These are 2 different applications, right? This is called SQL Server. This is called Visual Studio. Now, Visual Studio wants to knock the door to database. Ki, dear database, can you please give me the data of student table? Now, database, how it will respond unless you say which server name, which database name, what user ID and password, if any. User ID and password, always I say if any. Why so? Because it's optional. So this time this 2 information is fair enough, but if by chance you don't have user ID and password, usually there is one inbuilt monitoring process. It will say, hey, you have not given any credential. Are you missing something? To avoid that, we have to inform our front-end execution engine that, dear Visual Studio, we don't use user ID and password. No need to restrict us. So you have to say integrated security equal to true. That means you are informing to Visual Studio or ASP.NET platform or MVC platform, whatever it is, that security is integrated with this. We don't need additional security by user ID and password. That means indirectly saying you are mostly welcome without user ID and password. But when we will go for production database, currently we are doing it in local system, right? Local system means your local laptop. You are developer, computer is yours, database is yours, Visual Studio is yours. So why such restriction? User ID and password. So development you can do with this integrated security equal to true. But when everything will be, done, your application is working fine, you want to deploy that in production server, that time you can just delete this line and say user ID equal to whatever user ID and password equal to whatever password, whatever it is. Because production database will never be with Windows authentication. Production database means live database. That will have always restricted with user ID and password. If somebody doesn't have that, this cannot access. Otherwise, what will happen? It will be easier for hackers to hack the database, right? So that time you may need this user ID and password, but this time integrated security equal to true. You mark the spelling actually. Most of times I do, when I will write little fast, that time I may do mistake in this integrated sometimes. So make sure it is correctly spelled. So integrated security equal to true. That means we don't need any user ID and password to connect with database. So any question mark about the connection string? No question? Mhm. Mhm. In Visual Studio altogether, file, new, create, project, that you are saying? No, why it will take? That will altogether a different project, right? You are talking about file, new, project. Then how can it take from this project to that project? No, 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 it will not take. It will not take. It will totally a different project. That is a totally different project. It has made by Infosys. That has made by TCS. How do you think this will be gone there to the second project? You know, that is why the example I gave. This has created by TCS. That is created by Infosys. Will you need it? Indirectly asking the same thing. Two project means can you decide? Can you think? ABC Limited has given order for project number 1, XYZ Limited has given order for project number 2. Why do they need same connection string? If it is same organization, then you copy paste it. You copy it here from here and paste it in your second project. No problem. Okay. So every project will have their own configuration layer, right? Think about WhatsApp and Facebook. Do they share same settings? No, right? Same thing. App setting means application setting, not the all project setting. Only this app we are talking about. Okay. So connection string done. Now we have to use this connection string in the coding. Guys, if you will take some extra time today, anybody has any problem? Because these topics are something, if you will miss the flow, then you may not get it properly. So I want some 15-20 minutes extra. If you people are okay. Anybody not okay, you raise the hand and talk to me. By default, I will understand everybody is okay with 15 minutes more. Sunday, so I think you should give it. All right, so let's proceed and finish one small workflow so that you will get a chance to practice at home. Again, if it is not happening also, no need to bother, guys. As I said, similar approach we are going to do for select, fetch and display, insert the data, update the data, delete the data. So at least 4 to 5 times what we are doing today, we are going to do again and again. So that time, from practice, from seeing the same thing again and again, it will be recorded in mind. That's fine. Still, if you practice at home today, whatever you are doing, and you are able to achieve it, then during second flow, that means insert data, update data, etc., I will get a chance to give homework to you. That will be actually better. Okay. So if you have 4 operations, that is called CRUD operation, guys. Create, retrieve, update and delete. So if you have 4 major operations, 2 major operations if I already show, rest 2 major operations if people are able to do, that is a good symbol that you people can develop the project nicely. So mark it, but still not able to do at home in first go, no need to much bother. In second flow, when I will show insert, update, etc., then wherever you missed it, you can mark it there. But if you are not practicing, after completing all 4 steps also, all 4 operations also, you will be as fresher as at the beginning. So must practice today. 30%, 40% only able to do, I don't bother. It's good only. Maybe second step when we'll go for insert data or update data, that time you may get 50% or 60%. Next level you will may get 90%. But trying the same thing should be must. Okay. So come to now your page. Your page is called home.aspx. Just 10 minutes, 15 minutes back we created it. And then where should we go? If you'll go to Explorer, you can see somewhere home is there. Can you see? My mouse is there, home.aspx. Just expand that arrow mark. You will see there are 3 files. All are named as home only, but the extension is little different. First one is called client page. Second one is called server page. Third one is called designer page. So let me write that here as well as a note. So under web form, I will write it as a note here. So when you created a page, you got one ASPX, you got one ASPX.cs, and you got one something called designer.aspx.cs. Little bit idea I will give you about overall use of this page. Any design you want to do, like HTML design, you want to design a text box, you want to design some radio button, table, etc. You have to go to ASPX. This is called UI, user interface. Any action plan you write. For example, here you defined a button, for example. On click of that button, you want to make something happen. That is called action plan. So all action or events you have to handle here. Okay. Design button. This is example, not only for button. You can have text box, you can have a paragraph, you can have any table also. This is for example. All actions has to be defined here. Example, button click, save the data, or button click, fetch the data, and so on. On button click, save the data. That is called one example of activity written in this page. Always C#, that's why CS. This is purely HTML page, this is purely C# page. This is also C#, you can see last extension is CS, but this is used for whatever you design in ASPX. Those objects will be automatically defined here. Let's do one example so that this will be more clear to you. So let's design some table here, because in first go we will fetch the data from this table and will display on the screen. Okay, I will fetch the data from the table, SQL Server table, and I will display on the screen. So if that is the task, then obviously here we have to design a table. That table, if you go to MVC, you have to manually design the table, guys. That is called client side table. But in ASP.NET Web Form, they have one server side control called grid view. So what you do, you go to toolbox. Can you see left side? There is something called toolbox. In this toolbox, you will get somewhere something called data, and here you will get something called grid view. But I will tell you one more thing here. Usually freshers, they used to go here and drag it. Once people become little experienced, they will not go here and drag it. Imagine you have applied a job, you have mentioned 2 to 3 years experience, and they provided a system, for example, and they asked to make a general workflow to connect with the database. You went here and dragged this data view, grid view, suppose. You dragged this grid view, suppose. They will make a small smile and they will take it conceptually that this guy is very spoon feeding guy. Okay, he is not much dependent upon the coding. He is much dependent upon tools, wizards, somewhere I will drag it and use it. So lot of things this guy cannot remember. He always depend upon various wizards and tools and menus. Okay, uh, that's why it's a tips from my side. Never use the tools drag and drop things. You type it how I'm typing. It is ASP, ASP control. Start with angle bracket ASP, then put a colon. Whatever you want. Suppose you want a grid view, you type grid view. You want to use it in the server side. Why? Because my .cs file is server side file where my C# coding will be written. This is client file, this is server file, remember. So in client file I am designing. In server file I will use it, of course. Then only I can bind the data, right? That's why you have to write here run at equal to server. So if somebody is typing all these things, they will take it granted that this guy knows what is happening behind. If somebody is dragging it, he doesn't bother. All the properties came automatically. If he doesn't have much idea about those properties and attribute also, it's okay. So better to always depend upon the coding guys. Remember, to identify yourself as an experienced person, not a spoon feeding fresher. Okay, so write here id equal to something. Let's say name of the, even people will mark about your name, what you are giving the name or id. Somebody will say XYZ. Okay, somebody will write his favorite film star name. Those are all a reason of getting disqualified in interview also sometimes. So make sure you are giving some meaningful name as per the industry standard. This is a grid view, so I will say GRD. This is for student detail, so I will say students. If it is a text box, I will start with TXT. If it is a radio button, I will start with RAD. If it is a drop down, I will start with DRP. So there are some naming conventions provided by Microsoft. Now imagine somebody dragged it. For example, somebody dragged it. You didn't care about what it is providing automatically. So it didn't mark it grid view 1, grid view 2. Now when writing the coding in .cs, somewhere here in second file, will you again and again go there and see grid view 1 is for student. Okay, grid view 1 I will write. Grid view 2 is for department. Grid view 3 is for college. Should I again and again come here and see which ID is for what? No, right? So why not depend upon fully coding, give your customized ID, follow some naming convention as per the standard. That will, give you more confidence about the coding part. So I said run at equal to server. IntelliSense is there. It will help you. Little bit practice is required. ID equal to, I said DRP, this is grid view. So I say GRD students. That means grid view displaying student detail. As I said, web form is slowly going from market. So, but the standard best practices, tips and all, whatever I am giving, this is applicable in MVC also. What is there? In MVC also, there is something called wizard, something called coding area, something to write customized coding. So there also I will suggest write everything from your own instead of taking the inbuilt things. Function and all inbuilt things, it's okay in C# coding, but designing, dragging and dropping, some people have seen they will go to straight to a design area. Can you see below? There are three tabs. At least you are in source area. Somebody will go to directly design area. They will say, sir, I have to make here directly by dragging it. Then they will struggle. Left, right, top, bottom, they cannot take it. And they will suffer in front of some interviewer. So they will say, they will make a small smile and they will say, okay, no problem. I'm going to next question, something like that. They may say, if it is practical thing. So never use those things, those freshers or YouTube channel followers usually do. Okay, so based on the coding, always you depend your development. So I wrote just a small grid view, and that grid view is going to hold data comes from database. Now go to the server side code. This is called client side code, that is called server side code. Now on the load of the page, I want to fetch the data from database and I want to bind this grid view. Okay, if you want, you can close this web.config also, or you keep it as it is, no problem. So here you have some steps of approach to connect to database. Now let me write those steps of approaches now. So here, next step what we did is, in your home page or home.aspx, use or keep a grid view to hold all students records comes from database. Okay, database is going to give you this data, roll number, name, etc., and your grid view is going to display that. So that is what I mentioned here, so that you will not miss this. After that, now coding step comes. In one hand your database is ready, in other hand your designing is ready. Now you want to do the coding, which is going to connect right side database, left side design. You take it that way. Okay, you think that this page is sitting at the middle, left side you have ASPX and right side you have this MS SQL server. So your coding should be in such a way that it will fetch the data from right side and push the data to left side. This right side, left side, I'm saying because these are something which will keep the concept in your mind for a long time. Actually, there is nothing called left side, right side, So this guy called home.aspx.cs is sitting at the middle. Right side guy is your SQL Server database. Left side guy is your ASPX. You take it that way. Now the coding we have to write in such a way that you should collect the data from right side or SQL Server and you should give the data to ASPX or grid view. Okay, step number 1. Use namespaces. I'll tell you what are the namespaces to be used. One is called system.data. One is called system.data.sql client. Alright. One is called system.configuration. These two guys, system.data and system.data.sql client, they are core responsible libraries for database connectivity. This one I'm using because I have to get the configurational item from the web.config. Got it? In web.config we have this server name, etc., right, against this variable. So this variable has to be collected from web.config. That's why this namespace is responsible. But these two namespaces are responsible for connecting between front end and back end. So let's do that. Coming here and doing the thing, system.data, system.data.sql client, and system.configuration. only the environment will be different when we will go to MVC, guys. Like here we typed ASP colon, there we will type something else, but the steps of approaches, coding steps, coding commands also, namespace also, that means 90% is same. Only that 10% difference is HTML part. Okay. So there HTML is loosely coupled with .cs. Here HTML is tightly coupled with .cs. That means any design you do here, that can only and only accessed in this page. But they are little bit different. So that 10% difference is there. We will see it in MVC. But tips and general workflow and steps of approaches for radio.net, what you are doing here, we will do it everywhere. Even in mobile application also, we will do same thing only, if somebody is going for mobile application in future. Okay. So this is a culture, not a technology. You can say steps of approaches is a culture in any technology to connect with the database. That's why if somebody is planning to jump to some other technology like living.net also, this steps is applicable for them. So step one is use the, here we say using. If you will go to Java, they will say import. What is there? Here we say system.data SQL client. They might be having something else package, import io.something, import data.something. So like that they might be having. So we don't bother about their technology. But when you say steps of approaches, all technology same only. Similar, I will say, not same. So step 2. What is step 2 here? If the activity to be done on load of the page, then write the coding in load of the page. I mean page underscore load. It is a general knowledge. It's not a step, it's just a general knowledge. Step is here. Step 2 is here. Define object of SQL connection class. This SQL connection class is available in which namespace? System.data.sql client namespace. So you create one object of SQL connection. Define object of SQL connection class. Where to define? This sentence is going to say. Where to define that object? This sentence is going to say. If it is on load of the page to be done, do it inside page underscore load. If it is button click, do it inside button underscore click. Going forward, we will see how to define button underscore click. So this time what we want is on load of the page, fetch the data from database and display it. So define object of SQL connection class and provide connection string. So let's do this line. Step number, actually you can say 2 or you can say technically this is step 1 only, because this you know already from console application that for any special things you have to use some namespace at the top. So radio.net steps start from step number 2 only. So come here, your page underscore load is this. Inside this you say SQL connection some object name equal to new SQL connection. Inside this bracket you have to bring the connection thing. So you have to say it, write system.configuration, because already using the system.configuration we have written at the top. So directly you can take the class name. Class name is configuration management or manager dot app settings, because we have kept the global variable inside app setting of the web.config. So inside this write a double quote and copy paste exactly same variable name which you want to fetch it from here. If you remember, type it. If you don't remember, copy paste it. So for your better understanding, should I write here step 1? And here I will say this is step 1, and this is not a step, this is a general knowledge, because namespace of course required for any special features. So edu.NET point of view, this is the step number 1. So I did the step number 1. This line is step number 1. I will divide into 4 steps so that it will be easier for you to remember for a long time. Same line we will write in MVC also, only the environment will be different. After all, C# is C#, whichever architecture it is. These are all C# coding. Now step number 2. Step number 2 is I will say sorry to USA guys mainly, because it must be almost midnight for you guys. So still some 5-7 minutes more I will take and finish this 4 steps, and I will give some work. Yep. So step number 2 is SQL command. So create object of SQL command and pass the command to be executed. You know, going forward in SQL Server, you will be learning so many commands. Can you see this is a command also? Select star from table name. You know, if I'll say here select star from table name, it will give me some data. Select star from table name. Writing star is not a good practice actually, but for a quick understanding, if I have simply select star from students, that's fine. It will give me student data. So that is what I am saying here. Write the command what you want. Select star from students will give me fetch and display. If I will use insert into, it will help me for inserting new data. Update command, updating existing data. So today we are focusing on the very simple command called select star from student. That is what I am writing here. So create one object of SQL command and pass whichever command you want to execute, whether select, whether insert, whether update, whatever it is. So first time today, since we are doing edu.NET, we will write this command directly in C# guys. But going forward in next level, next class when we will meet, I will tell you writing SQL command directly in C# coding is not a good practice. Wrong practice, but easy to understand and remember. That's why I'm going for that particular step. Otherwise, going forward in real-time project, this command we will be defining in some stored procedure in the SQL Server database, and that stored procedure we will connect with C#. But today we don't know what is stored procedure. That's why directly I'm using that select star from student, this command in the C# coding itself. So let's do that. SQL command, some object name equal to new SQL command, and it says give that command. So select star from, if you write it's okay, otherwise if you have written already here, you just copy it and paste it there. Select star from students. You can give a comma here and mention the object name of connection. What does it mean? That means this command object is understanding what query to fire, in which path to fire, because CON is already having complete database path, don't you think so? Connection string I connected with CON means CON is already having entire path of the database. Now I mentioned select star from student. That means indirectly meaning of this line is please go to CON path, that means database path, and please execute this query. Okay, so this line is deciding where exactly to go, and this line is deciding what command exactly to fire there. Any question mark as of now? So which database to go is decided by CON. What query to fire is decided by COM. And also we give a link like CON also we are passing. That means command object COM is knowing both of the things, that which path should I go and what query should I fire. Okay, that is what I said. Create object of SQL command and pass the command to be executed as well as above connection object. Did that second step. Now let's go for third step. Total 4 steps are there. So step number 3. If these steps you understood, that means 50% of your development work in your future career also you are done. Another 50% is security, best practices, vulnerability, other conditional coding, loop, etc. But 50% work is around database connectivity stuff. So carefully do this. Most important steps of your development career. Okay. Step number 3. That means we decided where to go. We decided which database, what command to fire. Now imagine that command has fired here in this database. Then this data will come from SQL Server and it has to be captured in C# side. Don't you think so? This data, what you see here, it will be definitely come from database when this query will be fired, and somebody should catch this data in database side. So come here. You do that step now. What is that? If data is coming from database side, somebody has to catch it here. So that is called data table. Let me write the theoretical step here, then we'll do practical. So create object of, actually 4 steps, 4 classes, 4 objects, that's it. Each step we are creating one object of the class, that's it. So create object of data table class. That will help to hold data came from database. This is a collection, guys. You all know collection, generic collection, right? This is a collection class. That means this is not going to hold the data in type specific manner. Going forward, we will see how to work with generic collection also. But today, as a first go, we are learning collection called data table. So data table is a collection class that is collecting the data from database. That means if you have here 5 columns, there also it will create 5 columns automatically in a single line and it will give it to you. Have a look how easy it is. So step number 3. Step number 3, say some object name, let's say DT student equal to new data table. Nothing to say more, that's it. That means when data will come, my DT student is going to hold it. Now step number 4. Create object of SQL data adapter. I will tell you what is this work. SQL data adapter is the class which is responsible for connecting the establishing the connection between front end and back end. So create object of SQL data adapter and pass above command object. In our case, our command object name is COM. Okay. Here CON, here COM. So create the object of SQL data adapter and pass the above command called COM. That will help to establish connection between front end and back end. This time front end is C#, backend is SQL Server. That is different story. Tomorrow if it will be front end Java, backend Oracle, it's okay. The steps are common, same across all technology, guys, not only .NET. Okay, so come here and write your step 4. Only class name may be different in Java or PHP or any other technology, but steps of approaches is same only. So our class name in .NET is SQL Data Adapter, some object name equal to new SQL Data Adapter. It says pass the command object. Can you see? I wrote it here. Pass above command object so that it will come to know which connection, which command and all has to be established during the connection to the front end and back end. Because COM is already containing the information about which command to fire and which path to go, which server, which database and what command. If that is already contained by COM, if you are passing that COM to object of SQL Data Adapter, then it will automatically come to know that where to go, what query to fire. If the data is coming from database, then whom to fill. This time DT student. So object of data SQL Data Adapter is going to fill collected data from database. That means up to line number 26 or 27, up to line number 27, my data table object was blank. But in line number 28, suddenly it will establish the connection with the database, fetch the data by firing this query, firing this command, and fill the data table object called DT student. Now you have to just make a small check that if DT student not equal to null, in fact it will never be null because you have instantiated here. So directly you can check it rows dot count greater than 0. That means at least one record came from database. Then please pass it to grid view. Can you see, since I have used a good naming convention in the designing GRD students, that's why I didn't come here to check what is the ID. Directly I said already in design page I have an ID called GRD student, and please provide this DT student to that grid view. That means what do you mean in this line? Already you collected the data from database. Now you are passing that object to grid view. In web application, there is some process called rendering, guys. Rendering means whatever data you are passing to any control like grid view, text box, radio button, anything. Whatever data you pass, it has to be translated into HTML. Then it will display on the screen. Otherwise, your browser doesn't understand this C#. That's why you are instructing that whatever data I just now gave, please bind it. That is called data binding. This is helping for translating our C# variety of the data into HTML, and that HTML will be displayed on the browser. That means our coding is ASP::grid view, but if you go on the page source of the browser, you will get table tag here. After all, it's a table, right? You can see it in design view. Example ABC had given. So automatically it will translate this code of ASP.NET into HTML, and it will display on the browser. So if you will not give this line, what will happen? It is not an error. It will also give the data to that object. But where it will give? In the server only, na? In client side it will not go and render it. That's why for client side rendering, that means in browser you want to display in HTML format, you are saying please bind this data in my browser. So this two lines is for displaying the data from server to browser and from browser to user. So both the lines is required, then only user can be able to see the data. Step 4 and activity 4. So fourth step already we wrote here, and if it is insert or update or something, then other functions are there, but this time we are practicing only fetch and display, that's why fill. That's it. So let's put a breakpoint here and see whether you know uh, we have missed anything. So run it. I will suggest you put try catch block. Inside try catch, if you will keep all these things, by chance some mistake is there, you can handle it in the try catch and you can come to know what mistake. So I have put a breakpoint in the page load. Usually when page will be loaded on the browser, that time my control will go there. Can you see line number 16, F10, 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 go for all the 4 steps, because in line number 28 only something special is happening. If any mistake is there, it will come in line number 28 only. If here you are coming and instead of SELECT, line number 21, if you made something spelling mistake also, it will not show error in line number 21, because those are all for providing the information. Actual execution to hit to database is in line number 28. So let's see, is there any mistake? No mistake. That means your query also perfect, your command perfect, your connection string also perfect. If any mistake came here, any exception came here, then check the exception message. It will clearly mention that your connection string is wrong or your query is wrong or whatever. Accordingly, you have to fix the issue. But this time it is run successfully. If you want, you can see the collected data also here. You just take the mouse here and click it here. Can you see? I'm in Visual Studio, but whatever data was there in SQL Server, it has come here, because we are running in debug mode, right? We have the provision to see step-by-step approach, which line I'm doing mistake and so on. So data is coming means up to line number 28, I don't have any mistake. After that, if data is not displaying, then I will understand that, okay, between line number 30 to line number 34, perhaps some mistake is there. So accordingly, you have to, track your mistakes and do it. That's why always I do debug in front of you. So have a look. I binded the data and then continued, and in browser, now that data which was available in SQL Server, that first collected by ASP.NET Web Form and then pushed this data to browser. Okay. Maybe little difficulty you will face because it's first time. When it will be repeated again and again, you will be remembering. But believe me, this is very interesting and very useful for any technology in future. If you are a developer, you are definitely going to communicate with the database for a lot of business transactions in your application. Okay, so though we are late, but if you guys have any question mark or anything missed somewhere, you can ask me so that I will clarify you. Yep, web service we are talking about. Yeah, we have web service in our course. When we'll go there, we'll see. Okay, that means instead of displaying something on the design, you will have only C# coding over there. So some client page like Angular and all, they can collect the data from web service and display. that we will see when we'll go to WCF services. But this time we are developing application. This is called application architecture. That is called service oriented architecture. So don't mix both of them, you will confuse. So application architecture means one database, one application here. Now I'm collecting the data from database and directly displaying on the page itself. When we'll go for middle tier, like some third party wants to collect the data and serve you, that time we will see how data is flowing from SQL Server to web service and web service to anything, let's say console application or web application or MVC web application or mobile application, anything. So let's not merge the middle tier now. We have now only two tier. One is database, one is application. Yeah. Yep. Yep. You are right. You are right. Same. Exactly 100% same. Only thing is this ASPX will not be there because your web service doesn't have any UI. Okay. Any other question? Anybody? Mhm. Good. Good question. So let me tell you. If you remember at the beginning, I tell when you create a page, you have three section of the files, right? My page is home.aspx, but I have something called ASPX, something called .aspx.cs, something called designer.aspx.cs. Now this is anyway HTML page, no doubt about it. Leave it. Rest two pages, rest two files, in fact, CS and CS, right? Do you think this is a separate file and this is a separate file? No. Physically only separate file, but class is still same. If my page name is home, here also it should be class home. I'm answering your question only, but little going to the background. Here also class home, don't you think? Then only it can say whichever coding is available in this page, same object only defined in this page. Now you go see practically. Home.aspx already open. You can see name of the class is home. If you will open the third page, that is designer.cs, you can see uh, you know uh, this is also home. Now coming to your partial keyword, whenever not only ASP.NET, whether in console application, web application, mobile application, MVC, anywhere, remember this is a general knowledge. Imagine you have a class, say class name is my class, for example. Okay, you have another class, suppose your class, you have your class, absolutely we don't have any problem. But inside the same namespace, this is suppose namespace n1, for example. First I will clear your concept of a partial class, then I will show you there why they used partial class. So if I have two different class name, absolutely I don't have any problem. But if you use here also my class, here also my class, do you think it will allow? No, it will not allow. Okay. Now somebody says in both are same class only, logically same class only, but I want maybe some declarations of the variable here, say integer x, string y, etc. But all the functionality I want to define it here, maybe private void f1, some curly bracket, some coding. Similarly, some other function, maybe f2, maybe this is private, this may be public also, no worry. This is C# concept only, understand it. Somebody says I want to divide the responsibility of entire class called my class into two parts. One place I will keep all the variable declaration, property declaration, etc. and one place I will have all the functionalities. Okay, if it is so, still it will not allow, right? It will say, how can you have two classes with the same name? But you say, no, no, I want it because I want to divide the responsibility into two different physical area. Then you go for partial. Here you put partial, here also you put partial. Now it will not restrict that how can you have two classes in the same namespace. It will say, no worry, physically only two classes, but logically one class only. Only the logical division you did, because one place you wanted to define all the variables or properties, one place you wanted to define the functionality. Now you come to your area. Have a look. Here you will have all functionality, guys. Page load, button click, drop down selection, text box change, all the functionality in this class called home. In this file, physical file, all the declarations. You declared a form, you declared a grid view, tomorrow you will declare one something called text box. Automatically it will go on adding those declaration part here. So functions here, variable and object declarations there, but logically you want to keep both in the same namespace. Can you see here also namespace name is my first or something, here also same, but physically only two different places. Logically you want to consider both are one class only, then you have to use partial. Okay, that is the architectural offer. We don't write manually, but here why I typed it in console application also. If you want to define two classes with same name, considering that these are all just physical divisions, logically both are one class only, then you must use partial, partial, partial everywhere. Okay, I think that answers your question. Yep. As I said earlier, it may take some time because it has to be reviewed, and then if necessary something has to be edited. um, yep, you will get it. Mhm. Okay, all right, I will share it, but maybe one day delay or so, but yeah, I will share it. Mhm. Yep. Okay, all right, so let's wind up today. A very very important class. Try to practice it today itself, even though video is not there, nothing. Try to whatever you can achieve, because already I'm going to share this Visual Studio solution. So nothing much is there, only one page called home.aspx, and inside that only two pages. One is called home.aspx, one is called home.aspx.cs. Anyway, designer.cs you are not doing anything. So in web.config only one line, in home.aspx only one line, and in home.aspx.cs some 7 to 8 lines. Okay, so you have to follow this solution, and you try to practice it. As I said, if 50% also you are capable of doing, that is achievement. When next class we will meet, we will do how to insert the data, how to update the data. Similar activity will be repeated at least 4 to 5 times. So you know, you will be remembering that time, but okay, try to do how much you can able to do. So creating database, creating table, entering some example data in one hand, that is in SQL Server side, and Visual Studio side again. These steps of approaches already I have written. So in another 10-15 minutes I'm going to share this notepad where all the steps has been written, and this Visual Studio, and database side nothing to share, because it is practically you have to create database in your own database, your own SQL Server. But those who have not installed, at least quickly install SQL Server and start practicing this, because if you delay SQL Server installation, if 2-3 classes has been proceeded, you will be lagging in such a way that you will fear with the name of .NET. Remember, okay? So SQL Server installation must. At least one round practice today is must. Following up this SQL Server, Visual Studio and so on. Achievement 30-40% also fine. Next class when we will do one more time. Until then, if you got that video, you can again refer that video and practice step by step. Then you will be in place, whatever required. Okay, so no neglection here onwards, guys. Real time stuff has been started. Okay, so see you guys next class.